What's up guys, I'm Truman Lee and welcome to my pitch grip guide for 2025. So in this video I'm going to show you all the pitches that I throw in game as well as the ones that I know how to throw. Keep in mind that these grips are different for everybody most of the time and you might have to kind of play around with it if you want the best results for yourself. Also keep in mind I'm a low 3/4 arm slot guy, so my pitches will have a lot more movement to them than a standard over the top type of guy. And my grips are also a little bit different because of that. But yeah, I'll do the best to show you guys what I throw and hopefully you can learn something and add it to your repertoire. Let's go. Also, I got a new camera for my birthday as well as a new microphone. I got the lav mic, so I might be able to do a mic'd up video this season, which would be pretty sick. But yeah, thank you to my parents for getting me those, and hopefully the quality is a lot better for you guys in this video. All right, first things first, the four-seam fastball. I hold my four-seam with the horseshoe to the left, and then I just go straight over there. Pretty basic four-seam grip. Everybody knows how to throw it. Make sure that you develop your four-seam and get some good spin from it. I'm a thumb up guy as of right now, but I'm going to start experimenting with a little bit of a tuck thumb like that. So just know that if you want to tuck your thumb just a little bit, it feels kind of weird. You might not have as good of control, but you get higher spin rate. All right, so sticking with the theme of fastballs, I'm gonna go over the cutter next. So there's a couple different ways to throw the cutter. The way that I do it when I do throw it is I just climb up the horseshoe a little bit and kind of put my finger on the side of the ball like that. And then thumb just kind of opposite. With the cutter, you don't want to get too much on the side of it because then you're going to lose velocity and it's going to act more like a slider. So make sure you're just throwing it straight through like a fastball. The cutter is a really effective pitch if you need a second fastball. This would be a good like third or fourth pitch, especially for a lot of younger guys because it won't put too much stress on your arm. All right, so next up is the sinker / two-seam. There are a lot of ways to throw two-seamers and it's kind of different for everybody. With me, I start with my fingers like right in the middle of the ball like that, right on the sweet spot. And then I kind of like climb up a little bit. So it ends up kind of looking like that, if you can see. And then I have my fingers just slightly apart. And then my thumb is just in line with my pointer finger on the other side of the ball. So there's that grip for you. You can climb up a little bit more on that seam if you want, or you can kind of just stay in the middle of the ball. One key point is to have a little bit more pressure on your pointer finger on this. With the two-seamer or the sinker, you want to make sure that you release this way out in front. That's going to give you more sink and more arm side movement to it when you throw it well. All right, so that's all for the fastballs. Now it's time for breaking balls. So currently the only breaking ball that I throw is a sweeper. It's really only a sweeper because of my arm slot. Other guys, it might just end up as a normal slider if you're a little bit of a higher arm slot. And how I throw the sweeper is just put my fingers almost just like the sinker, except this time I'm having the pressure on my middle finger just a little bit more. So with this, you really want to make sure that you get really out in front on the ball and that your thumb kind of points at your face at release, because that's how you're going to get the most sweep from it. So when I'm throwing this pitch, I'm almost like this, trying to get around it and in front of it. A couple more breaking balls that you can throw is just a straight slider. When I do a slider, I just go on the right side of the horseshoe with the horseshoe face down. And once again, I'm just trying to get out in front as much as possible and get your fingers coming off of the side of the ball rather than straight through. So that's a pretty simple slider. You can also just go right up here with the horseshoe flip the other way if you want to. Curveballs are different for basically everybody. When I used to throw a curveball, I would just go with the horseshoe up and just go right up there. Just like that. And the key with the curveball is just to throw it like a football. So just go straight up and down like a karate chop. I know that it's kind of weird and that you would think that you would have to manipulate this pitch, but you don't. Just go straight up and down like a karate chop. That's what's going to keep your arm the healthiest and create the most movement. And depending on your arm slot, each breaking ball is going to move differently, so make sure that you pick something that works for you and that plays off of your fastball well. Now it's time to move on to off-speed pitches. So the most common type of off-speed pitch is obviously the changeup, which you take the middle of the ball right on the sweet spot. You split your fingers like that, and then you just have your pointer and pinky on the sides of the ball. There's plenty of ways to throw the changeup, and this is also a pitch that's going to be different for everybody. You can play around with it, having it higher. You can also play around with it, having it a little bit lower on the seams as well. You can throw a 4-seam changeup as well, so you can hold it on these seams. You can hold the changeup pretty much any way that works for you. If it's more comfortable, you can play around with having your thumb on the side of the ball like that, or even off the ball completely. But when I throw it, I like to have my thumb on the bottom of the ball like that. Whenever I've thrown a changeup, I've kind of just crept up the seams a little bit on the side of it, just like that. And this is what seems to work best for me, except I don't really throw it because it's kind of hard to throw, and a splitter has always worked better for me. So moving on to the off-speed pitch that I actually know how to throw, it's a splitter. There's 3 different types of splitters that you can do. The first splitter is just straight up, so I take the horseshoe face down, and then I push it deep into my fingers, just like that. My pointer finger ends up being on the side of the left seam, and as you can see, it's kind of creeping up the seam a little bit right there. Thumb just on the bottom of the ball, wherever you feel comfortable, and then middle finger obviously split across the ball. That's why it's called a splitter. Now, a lot of people might be like, how do you throw a splitter when you're a 3/4 arm slot guy? And to be honest, I don't really know. Which obviously entails that splitters are better for higher arm slot guys. If you can't throw a changeup, changeups are generally going to be better for a lower arm slot. 2 more types of splitters that you can throw. You can move your finger like that on top of the seam. With a splitter, you want both fingers to go off the ball at the same time to get the best downward movement. So don't try and make it so your pointer finger comes off last. But I've found that putting your pointer finger on this seam gets you a little bit more arm side movement. A pitch that one of my pitching coaches taught me a while ago is the glove side splitter. So it's the same thing as the other arm side one that I just showed you, except you're splitting your fingers on a different part of the ball. Test which of these grips works best for you if you want to throw a splitter. You can throw all 3 in game if you're good enough, but that takes a lot of practice. So do what's best for you. And again, just like it's important with every other pitch, get way out in front with the splitter. That's what is going to give you that drop and that arm side run. And depending on how you throw it, sometimes you can get a little bit of knuckle on the splitter because obviously the splitter grip really kills the spin on the ball. Changeups are kind of weird and depend on the person. You can have a high spinning changeup like Devin Williams, or you can have a really low spinning changeup. With splitters, you're just trying to kill the spin as much as possible. And that's why you want both of your fingers to come off of the ball at the exact same time, because that's what's going to kill the spin and give you the drop and sometimes a little bit of knuckle. All right, couple splitters here for you guys. But yeah, guys, those are pretty much the most common pitches thrown in the MLB. Obviously, there's anomalies like knuckleballs, screwballs, etc. But those are kind of dying pitches, so I don't really know how to throw any of those. These are all the pitches that I know how to throw and that I've thrown at some point in my life. But however you do it, make sure that your arsenal is tailored to you and your arm slot and what mixes with your 4-seam fastball the best. But yeah, guys, that's about it. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe down below. I might be doing what's in my baseball bag soon, so stay tuned for that. I know you guys love those videos. Comment down below if you want me to do a mic'd up video with these mics. I think that would be pretty sick. But yeah, that's it for me. I'll see you guys later.